Let's talk some Travis Hunter. We're going to preview the Heisman, which is this weekend. But first, Travis Hunter became the first player to win the Bednarik Award and the Biletnikoff Award. So best player in the country for Bednarik, Biletnikoff obviously best wide receiver. Before we get into the Heisman this weekend, your guys' thoughts on him winning, first off, the Biletnikoff Award for best wide receiver?
I get it. I think you can make a good argument for it. I mean, the guy literally came in, and every time he was in there, they treated him like the best wide receiver. He just happened to go play DB on the other side as well. We can sit here and look at the numbers. Nick Nash had an incredible year. He's a guy we talked about earlier in the season, actually, when we were doing some of the betting stuff. Nick Nash was first in receptions overall, first in receptions per game, first in receiving yards per game, and first in receiving touchdowns. I can understand anybody that can make the argument that Nick Nash was the most outstanding wide receiver in college football. I get it. But what does Nick Nash not have? Well, it starts with an N-A, and it's the narrative. Colorado was much more popular, and they should have been with what they did and winning enough games to put Travis in this position. But I'm not as upset with it as I was about not seeing Dylan Sampson on the Doak Walker list.
Sure.
Or not seeing even Travis Hunter on the Thorpe Award list.
That's what was wild.
That's the
defensive player, but wasn't on the Thorpe. All right, Flaming Dragon, you were a wide receiver. Travis Hunter, 96 catches for 1,152 yards, 14 total touchdowns. I'm sorry, it was 92 receptions, 1,152 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns. Nick Nash, 104 receptions, 1,382 yards, 16 touchdowns. Who should have won the award?
This is tough. I think Nick Nash is a hell of a player. I've watched him in San Jose State. I mean, he's an absolute dog. But just because he doesn't have the stats don't mean you're not the best player. I think Travis Hunter, just from a talent standpoint, is the best wide receiver in college football. And Nick Nash was the only thing San Jose State had. Right, they were his guy. You look at Colorado. Colorado had a couple guys at receiver who are pretty kind of gadget guys, but they can get the job. Jimmy Horn's a hell of a football player. They have another slot who's really good. I think Travis Hunter, probably got doubled 80% of the time when he played football, especially for Colorado. He's going to get doubled in the league. We'll see what position he plays. But I think stats can only take you so far. I think competition, who you played has to matter. I think Travis obviously played better competition at Colorado, but it just sucks because a narrative is one thing. I know brand is another thing. I think Nick Nash had a great year. I just think Travis is the best receiver.
Yeah, so that's where the conversation is kind of interesting to me in that, is he the best wide receiver and the best defensive back, or is he one of the best at both positions? And when you combine them, that's what's going to equal him winning the sort of holistic awards like best player in the country or Heisman Trophy this weekend. Is the Heisman Trophy already his, Jake?
I think it is. Now, some people have said, well, since he won all this, maybe he won't win the Heisman. I don't think it works like that. A couple things that Flamey said, I agree with most of what he said, but there's a couple things I kind of want to push back on a little bit.
Quit pushing me.
I'm gonna push that tree over. I am 100% with you that just because you don't have the best stats doesn't mean that you're the best player. I was about to make that argument for him as a DB. If you're a quarterback, you want to avoid the biggest threat that the defense has the most. So, sometimes you look at Sauce Gardner's numbers. Like, they didn't throw at him. Like, I can't have stats if they won't throw at me most of the time. And then with the few times they do, I have to take advantage of it. So I agree with you there. I agree with you on offense that, if you're a receiver and you're getting doubled, they can pretty much eliminate you from the game, but it opens up somebody else. Where I disagree with that logic is, I don't think you can sit here and say, well, Nick Nash was the only thing that San Jose State had, so that's why they threw him the ball so much. Well, if he's the only thing that they had, then I think teams would double him, just like they doubled Travis Hunter. So I don't think that lessens any of the quality of Nick Nash's stats thrown on there. I think it's actually harder when you're not just the guy, but the only guy, if that was the case.
True.
I think it's easier when there's, if you got multiple guys that can shoot three-pointers in basketball, you can't just sit here and double everybody at the three-point line. So I agree.
Yeah, you're right. You're right in saying that, but I do think level of competition from both.
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
I guarantee the double that Travis has to go through is a lot harder than the double that Nick has to go to, being a Group of 5 school, and Travis Hunter and Colorado being the Big 12. I just think, and I think that hurts. I mean, brands hurt. Like same thing with Ashton Jeanty. We talk about all the time. If Ashton Jeanty played for anybody other than Boise State, he would a Power 4 team. He would probably win the Heisman.
Yeah.
He would probably win the Heisman.
I agree with that.
The logo hurts you sometimes. I'm sure he's getting doubled the same amount of times, but I think Travis, to what he can do to guys when he's in a double and to what Nick can do to guys and the level of competition of those guys. It obviously is going to make Travis Hunter look better. Obviously, both guys are getting double, but level of competition matters. That's why we probably won't see Ashton Genty, who's breaking all type of records at running back, win the Heisman.
Yeah, I mean, if Nick Nash was at Colorado putting up those numbers, he'd have probably won the Blitz. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Well, this is episode 666 on Friday the 13th. I'm not horrified at all, but if you're horrified or not, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to get through this together.